There's something chilling about the idea of a toy. Something meant to bring joy, turning dark, dangerous, or downright cursed. But believe it or not, history is filled with stories of toys that were pulled from shelves after terrifying incidents, eerie rumors, or bizarre coincidences that left parents horrified and kids traumatized. From dolls that whispered on their own to toys that caused real injuries, these aren't just tales from haunted legends. They're real products that made it to store shelves before being banned or recalled. Today, we're diving deep into the world of cursed toys that got pulled from shelves. Let's start where all creepy toy stories begin, with dolls. One of the most infamous cases is My Talking Elmo from the early 2000s. Now, Elmo was supposed to be an adorable red monster who giggled and said funny phrases. But soon parents began reporting something seriously unsettling. Instead of cheerful giggles, their Elmo dolls started speaking disturbing messages. One version, the Elmo Knows Your Name doll, could be programmed to say your child's name. Cute idea, right? Until one Florida mom claimed that her son's Elmo began repeating, "Kill James," over and over again. The mother was so disturbed that she took it to the news, and before long, stores across the country began pulling the doll off shelves. The manufacturer blamed a software glitch, but to parents it felt like something far more sinister. Then there was the Cabbage Patch Snack Time Kid. On paper, this doll was a dream for 90s kids. It could eat pretend snacks and magically chew them up. But it wasn't long before reports started flooding in. The doll wasn't just eating toy food, it was eating children's hair and fingers. The doll's powerful mechanical jaws didn't stop once they started. One mom recalled screaming as the doll's mouth sucked in her daughter's ponytail and they couldn't turn it off. Parents had to cut their kids' hair to free them. Eventually, Mattel had no choice but to recall the doll in 1997 after hundreds of complaints. What started as a fun, interactive toy became one of the most terrifying product failures in toy history. Next up is one that sounds straight out of a horror movie: Furby. When it first came out in 1998, everyone wanted one. The furry, blinking creature could learn language and interact with you. But soon after, strange stories started circulating. Parents claimed their Furby was talking even when turned off. Some swore it would say words it wasn't programmed to say, like whispering their names at night. Even the U.S. National Security Agency got involved, banning Furbies from its offices after fears the toy could record classified information. Hasbro denied it, saying the Furby had no recording capability, but the myth stuck. Combined with its glowing eyes and eerie midnight chatter, Furby quickly gained a reputation as a cursed toy. But creepy talking toys aren't the only ones that gave people nightmares. In 1965, the company Hasbro released a chemistry set for kids called the Gilbert U2 3-8 Atomic Energy Lab. It actually came with real uranium ore samples. Yes, you heard that right. Radioactive materials in a children's toy. The kit encouraged kids to experiment and learn about atomic energy, but after parents realized their children were literally playing with radiation, it was pulled from the shelves almost immediately. It's now considered one of the most dangerous toys ever made, and vintage collectors still call it the most cursed science toy in history. Then there was the Aqua Dots toy from 2007, which was supposed to be a fun arts and crafts game for kids. You could spray water on colorful beads to make them stick together, but behind the bright colors was a horrifying secret. When kids accidentally swallowed the beads, they started vomiting and passing out. Investigators later discovered the coating on the beads contained a chemical that, once ingested, turned into GHB, better known as the date rape drug. The company immediately issued a recall after several children were hospitalized, but the damage to its reputation was permanent. If that wasn't dark enough, let's talk about the Monster Science Skeleton. This educational kit was supposed to teach kids about anatomy by letting them grow a skeleton in water. The only problem? Parents started reporting that the skeletons kept growing, way more than expected. Some said the toy grew so large it split the containers it was kept in, Others claimed the shape of the skeleton started changing, developing longer limbs and distorted features. Of course, it's possible this was just a chemical reaction gone wrong, but after enough complaints, the toy was quietly removed from production. Urban legends now say the toy was haunted, though that's likely a myth born from its creepy appearance. One of the strangest stories involves the Lego Ogle sets from the early 2000s. Ogle is L-E-G-O spelled backward, and the character was a villain obsessed with chaos. Some collectors claim these sets had strange coincidences attached to them. Owners reported bad luck, nightmares, and even accidents happening around their homes after purchasing the Ogle series. While there's no evidence Lego itself did anything wrong, the eerie coincidences led to fans calling it the cursed Lego line. Lego quietly discontinued Ogle sets a few years later, without ever commenting on the rumors. Another unsettling example comes from Japan, the Okiku doll. Though not sold commercially, it's perhaps the most infamous cursed toy ever. The story goes that in 1918, a young girl named Okiku died, and her favorite doll was placed on an altar in her memory. Over the years, people noticed the doll's hair began to grow. Real human hair growing inch by inch. Priests who examined it confirmed the hair was human, and to this day, it continues to grow. The doll is now kept in a temple in Hokkaido, Japan. While it wasn't a store-bought toy that got recalled, the story of Okiku became so widely known that it inspired toy bans and parental fears around dolls that looked too realistic. Let's not forget about CSI Fingerprint Examination Kit, a 2007 toy meant to let kids play detective. But this innocent-sounding kit had a hidden danger. The fingerprint powder inside contained asbestos, a toxic material linked to cancer. Once news broke, thousands of these kits were yanked off shelves immediately. It was a shocking reminder that even modern toys can carry deadly risks. And then there's Betsy Wetsy, a doll that pees after you feed it water. But in the 1950s, one version of the doll was recalled after parents reported the doll leaking red-colored fluid from its eyes and mouth due to a production defect. Rumors quickly spread that the dolls were bleeding or possessed. Even after the manufacturer corrected the issue, sales never recovered. Some toys didn't just seem cursed, they were outright dangerous. Remember the lawn darts of the 1970s and 80s? These were sharp, heavy darts meant to be tossed into the air toward plastic targets on the ground. Unfortunately, several kids were severely injured, and at least 3 died after being struck in the head. Parents began calling them death darts, and by 1988, they were completely banned in the US. The government even urged families to destroy any remaining sets. Another bizarre entry on this list is Sky Dancers. These flying fairy dolls were a hit in the 90s, but thousands of parents started reporting injuries. The dolls would spin out of control, slamming into people's faces, breaking noses, and even hitting eyes. Over 150 reports of injuries later, the toy was recalled in 2000. To this day, Sky Dancers remain a symbol of how a toy can go from magical to menacing in a heartbeat. Even plush toys aren't safe from the curse. In the 1990s, the Roadkill cat plushie hit stores as a dark humor gag gift, a stuffed animal designed to look like it had been run over with tire marks and fake blood. Parents were outraged, calling it psychologically damaging. After a media firestorm, stores removed it from shelves. Though not haunted in a supernatural sense, it showed just how easily a toy can cross a disturbing line. But perhaps the eeriest modern case is Momo the doll. Originally an art sculpture from Japan, Momo's disturbing face went viral online as part of a creepy internet challenge that allegedly encouraged kids to harm themselves. Though it turned out to be largely an internet hoax, toy knockoffs based on Momo began circulating on online marketplaces, and parents demanded their removal. The combination of viral fear and the doll's haunting design made Momo one of the most terrifying toys of the digital era. These toys remind us that not all playthings are innocent. Whether it's due to design flaws, horrifying coincidences, or just plain bad luck, Some toys carry a darkness that goes far beyond childhood fun. They blur the line between entertainment and fear, turning something meant to comfort into something you can't wait to throw away. So, the next time you see an old doll at a thrift store or a toy from your childhood that gives you a weird feeling, maybe think twice before bringing it home. Because some toys don't just play with you, they play with your fate. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the creepiest and most cursed toys ever made, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because next time, we'll uncover even darker secrets hidden in everyday objects. You never know what's really watching you.